Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf, Nazir Lamed Aleph. We begin a brand new Perek Chamishi, Beishami Omrim. Says the Mishnah, what if a person made something hegdish? He committed something, to the hegdish, to the Beis Hamikdash. He was magdish a korban. It turns out it was mistaken. It's not what he had in mind. Does it work or not? Beishami Omrim hegdish toes hegdish. Even a hegdish which was done by mistake. Hegdish. The hegdish is activated, irrespective of his intentions. That's the power of hegdish. He said something and he really wanted to say something. It works. Ubeisilu Omrim ein hegdish. No, it does not work. Ketzad, give me an example. And what follows are actually three examples of an hegdish toes. Amar, he gets up and declares like this: I have many oxen at home, and shor shachar sheyetze mibesi rishon, the first black ox that exits my home, hari hegdish, I'm committing it to the hegdish. It turns out it wasn't the black one that went out first. He's thinking black. It turns out it was white. V'yatza when the first ox comes running out, lo and behold, they'd say, white ox. Is he committed to his commitment? Does it become hegdish or not? Beishami Omrim hegdish. Yes, it does. So even though he meant black, it turned out to be white. He's committed. Ubeisilu Omrim einay hegdish. No, it is not hegdish because he said black. It wasn't black. It was white. Another example: dinar zahav shiyala b'yad rishon. He's picking out some coins. He says, look, the first a coin that comes up, I pick out the gold coin that comes out first, Hareyu Hegdesh, should be given to the Hegdesh. V'ala shel kesef, and lo behold, he opens his hand. Instead of picking out the gold coin first, it was actually a silver coin. Once again, we have a machlekes, Beishami Omrim hegdesh. It becomes hegdesh regardless. Ubeisilu Omrim einay hegdesh, though it does not. A third example: Chavis shal yayin shetal b'yad rishon. He's picking up a barrel. He says, "Well, I'm assuming it's going to be a barrel filled with wine. So that first barrel that I pick up, the wine barrel, should be hegdish. Hareyu hegdish. V'alsa shal shemen. Turns out it was filled with oil, not wine. Beishami Omrim hegdish. It is hegdish regardless. It was the first barrel. He thought it's going to be wine. It turns out to be oil. It's hegdish. Ubeisilu Omrim einay hegdish. It is not." Asks the Gemara, Beishami Omrim hegdish, even though it was a toes, my tamai to Beishami. You have to understand why. The answer is, the alfina and tchilas hegdish. We learn the guidelines of an initiated hegdish, such as this fellow in the Mishnah was committing to be magdish his ox, his coin, his barrel. That's called tchilas hegdish. We learn that we derive the specifics of tchilas hegdish from where? Misoif hegdish. From something called soif hegdish. Second stage hegdish. What is that? A temura. Temura means he has a korban standing before him, and he places another animal, his own animal, next to that first korban. He says, this new animal, animal B, should be temuras, which literally means like an exchange. It should be an exchange for animal A for the korban. So basically, it's like an extension. The kedusha of the original korban extends into the next animal as well. And the halacha there is ma temura afilu betos. There it works, even if it was a mistaken expression. He said, the black one here should be a temura. It turns out it's really white. Halacha is it works even betos. Af hegdish afilu betos. Likewise, in our Mishnah, where we're speaking about the original hegdish, the first hegdish, it works even if it was a mistake. And Taisus brings, based on a Gemara and Temura, how do we know that Temura betos works? We have the word yihiyeh. And that includes L'Rabbo's Shogeg Kemezit. So even if it was a shoygeg, it works. The Taisus brings a case, let's say, he has an oila, right? And he says, well, I want this to be the Tmura of the Shlamim. It's not a Shlamim, it was an oila. It works. So basically we're going to derive from there, from Tmura, which is called Soif Hegdish, right? Stage 2, step 2. Just like over there, it works betos. Af Hegdish, likewise in our Mishnah, where you're initiating, you're starting the Hegdish. Afilu betos, it works even if there was a tos. Such as in our case, he says, well, the first ox, the black one that's coming out, that should be Hegdish. Turns out it wasn't the black one, it was the white one. In that case, it is, in fact, Hegdish. That is Shitas Beis Shammai. Okay, so it works even betos. Beis Hillel Aimer. Beis Hillel disagree. You can't compare the two things. Hanimila Tmura. That only applies to the Tmura. There's a pasuk there. Even betos, it can work. Aval achusi hegdish, but to land, but to apply, to activate, to initiate hegdish. Achusi hegdish betos. Loy machtinan. We don't trigger hegdish betos. So by Tmura, yeah, but not in our Mishnah where it's Tchilas Hekdesh. Asks the Gemara. Let's try to understand Beis Shammai. Ulu Beis Shammai. Ma ilu amar hareze tachase l'chatziyayim. You're coming from Tmura. Okay. Let's focus on Tmura. If he would have tried to make Tmura the same way this fellow in our Mishnah tried to make his Hekdesh, saying A, it turns out B, it wouldn't work by Tmura either. So you're drawing from Tmura, which is an entirely different case. You see, the case of Tmura was, like we explained before, he said, this animal should be a Tmura of the oila that's standing here. It turns out it was really a Shlamim. Right? He didn't mean specifically oila. He meant this behema, this carbon. It turns out it was a Shlamim. So we ignore the fact that he misunderstood, that he misspoke, because after all he meant it should be a Tmura of this carbon, whatever it is. But let's say he was specific. He says, I want, the black one right here to be a Tmura of the carbon, and there's no black one. It's a white one. He thought it was black. Of course, it wouldn't work, right? So you're comparing it to Tmura. But in Tmura itself, it wouldn't work. If he really wanted A, it turns out to be B. If it was a mistake, he has his eyes closed, he said, this black one here should be a Tmura. He opens his eyes, it's a white one. Okay, then it works. But if he specifically wants a black Tmura, right? You can't just change it into white. Right? So here in our Mishnah as well, he wanted the first ox, thinking the first ox is going to be a black one. He wants the black one to be Kaddish. He doesn't want the white one to be Kaddish. He didn't misspeak. He meant what he said. He said what he meant. He wants the first black ox, the first ox coming out of his house, which he thinks is going to be black. He wants that to be Tmura. Turns out it was a white one. He didn't want the white one. Okay? Says the Gemara, how could you compare to Tmura? Let me give you another example. By Tmura, let's say he says, I want this animal B to be Tachas, animal A, be an exchange, be an extension of the carbon. I want it to happen at midday, at lunchtime. I don't want it to happen now. What happens? We wait till lunchtime, right? As per his instructions. Is there anybody in the world that will contemplate that the Tmura should be activated now? Of course not. You need to wait patiently until midday for the Tmura to become a Tmura. Hachinami here as well. In our Mishnah, he's waiting for the black ox to come out. That's what he wants to be Magdish. That's what he wants to give away. He doesn't want the white ox as a carbon. So here as well, when it becomes known and revealed, everybody says, well, it's the white one that came out. That's not Kaddish. So basically, the Gemara starts with the question. We have 3 cases in the Mishnah. First of which, a fellow wants Shor Shachar Sheyetzim Beis Rishon. The first ox, he's assuming it's a black one, should be Kaddish. Turns out it's a white one. Bishama say Kaddish. Why? Answer is just like by Tmura. Question. Tmura in this type of case wouldn't work. If he misspeaks, he mistook the facts. He thought it was an oily, he said shlomim, he thought it was black. Well, fine. But if he specifically gives us, exact instructions, I want the black one to be a Tmura, not the white one. I want the black one. You can't make the white one Tmura. Or he says, I want the Tmura to be Chal lunchtime. That's when it comes about, not a second before lunchtime. So here as well, he wants the black one to be Kaddish. How can Beishamai say Hegdish Batos? It doesn't matter. The white one is Kaddish. He wants the black, not the white. Okay, Amar Rav Papa. Therefore says Rav Papa, Lekach Nemar Rishon. No, it's not the way we understood it. We thought that he meant the first ox that will come out of my house, and he's assuming it's a black one. That one will become Kaddish. It didn't pan out. It was a white one. So we have a problem. How could it become Kaddish? No, says Rav Papa. All he meant to say was like this: the first of my black oxen which will come out, not the first ox that comes out. It could be the 10th one, but it needs to be the first of my black ones. That's all he meant. Lekach Nemar Rishon. That's why he said the first. He meant the Cheshayetze Rishon, the first of my black oxen. Right? So here, we wait. Another white one. Oh, here's the first black one. That's why it's Kaddish. Asks the Gemara, Vashar Shachar Ka'amar. What do you mean? He said the first ox that will come out, the black one. That's what he said. Right? Mila Askin Leslei Lahai. Perhaps we're speaking that all he has is a black ox in his barn there. So how can you interpret it the way you did? Well, the first of my black oxen. Who said he has more than one? And if he only has one, then when he said the first one, he meant the first one to come out of the barn. The black one, right? That comes out. Well, it didn't come out first. It was the white one that came out first. So the more apparently we're speaking Islay Trainu Tlasa. He actually has a couple of them, 2, 3 of them. And that's all he meant. He meant to say, look, the first of my black oxen, which exit, I want it to be Kaddish. That's what happened. So although the white one jumped the gun, we wait until the first black one comes out, and that's when it's Kaddish. That's Beis Shammai's opinion. However, Beis Hillel disagree, right? They say it's not Hegdish. Why? Why not? According to Beis Shammai, all he meant was the first of my black. Beis Hillel, they disagree. Imkain, because if that's what he meant, he should have said as follows: the first of my black oxen. Sheyetze, I'm going to be Magdish, right? The first black, Barishan, Sheyetze Barishan, which will come out ahead of the pack, ahead of all the black ones. That's how he should have said it. In which case, it would be mashma, indeed, the first of my black, even if it's the 10th overall, but it's the first of my black ones. Rather, what did he say? If you look at the Mishnah on the second line, he said, Shar Shachar, Sheyetzim Beis Rishon, the first ox exiting the home, which will happen to be black. He's assuming it's going to be the black one, which will come out first of all the Shvarim. Is that what happened? No. It came out number 10 after all the white ones. So, since we have that, that way of we interpret his words this way, so we have no way, to compel Hegdish. It's not a clear Hegdish. In fact, we still hold that's not what he meant. he meant the first one, and that's it. Since it wasn't the black one that came out first, it doesn't work. Amalei Rava Mibarnish l'Rav Ashi. So Rava Mibarnish asked Rav Ashi a question. If this is the pshat in the machlekes, why does Beis Hillel, why does Beis Shammai say hegdesh b'toos is a hegdesh? Hi hegdesh b'toosu. Why is this called a mistaken hegdesh? Hegdesh b'kavanu. This is exactly as per his intent. We are interpreting his words in this manner. That what did he mean? He meant the first of my black ones, and that's exactly what we're doing. Why is it called b'toos? Right? Once we determine that in fact this is what he had in mind, there's no toes here. The answer is hachinami ela mishum da'atayil dibure kama. It means to say that it's sort of tricky. His words, his expressions are pliable. The initial, impression is that he wants the first one to be black, and then it's Kaddish, as opposed to this case where it was, number 2, number 10. But after contemplating his kavanah, after focusing and analyzing his words, no, he meant, this is what he meant, the first of my black ones. But there was some sort of initial confusion in terms of what he had in mind. That's why it's called Hegdesh Tos. Asks the Gemara. So bottom line is, if it's a real Tos, of course it's not Hegdesh. Hegdesh Tos is just a borrowed term. It's a confusing expression. Still, Beis Shammai interpret it in a fashion, in a manner, which triggers Hegdesh. Really, says the Gemara? V'savri Beis Shammai Hegdesh b'tos lo have a Hegdesh. If it's a real Tos, suppose you really, you said, I want the black one. Which comes out first? First of all, the animals to be Kaddish, turns out a white one. That's not going to be Hegdesh, right? That's what you're telling me. A real Tos, of course, doesn't work. But now, listen to this Mishnah coming up soon. Misha Nada ben Nazir, a fellow committed to Nazirus. He accepted Nazirus v'nishal l'chachamim v'yitiru. He went to the Bezdin. He says, it's not what I had in mind. Okay, they canceled the neder. But he had set aside, he reserved some animals for the karbanos of Nazirus. What do you do with that? You send them back to the farm. That'll go pasture what they heard. Why? Because you may recall from Maseches Nedarim, Ha'atoras Nedarim uproots retroactively. It was never a Nazirus. There was never a need to make a carbon. It was just a mistake. He anticipated a need. There was no need. So it's back to the herd. Amra Beis Hillel. So Beis Hillel, who hold that Hegdesh Tos is not Hegdesh, they use this as an argument. They turn to Beis Shammai. They said, look, you're agreeing with us that this mistaken Hegdesh is null and void. Doesn't that prove our point? That Hegdesh Tos la have a Hegdesh? Who? Don't you agree with us that this is an example of Hegdesh Tos and therefore it's free to go? Right? So that was their debate. Let's stop. End quote. Apparently, says the Gemara, this was the topic of their discussion, of their back and forth. Whether or not Hegdesh b'tos is Hegdesh. And you're telling me that everybody agrees Hegdesh Tos is not a Hegdesh. It's clearly subject to machlekes, subject to debate. It's clear from this conversation that Beis Shammai are of the opinion Hegdesh Tos is Hegdesh. No, not necessarily. Ella Beis Hillel, perhaps really Beis Shammai agree that Hegdesh Tos is not Hegdesh. It's only in this Mishnah where we sort of analyze and interpret his expression to mean one thing over the other that we determine it to be Hegdesh. But a standard Tos, an outright mistake, of course, even Beis Shammai would not consider Hegdesh. Ella Beis Hillel Dukato, it was Beis Hillel's sort of misunderstanding in Beis Shammai's opinion. They thought Tamai Beis Shammai Mishum the Hegdesh B'Tos have a Hegdesh. They thought that when Beis Shammai in this Mishnah consider the black ox to be hekdesh, it's because hekdesh tos is hekdesh. That's how they understood Beis Shammai. It's not because we reanalyze his expression. No. Even if it's a real mistake, he meant one thing, it turned out something else, it's a hekdesh. The koyach of hekdesh is so strong, it's chal even in this case, even if the details don't pan out as per his plan. That's what they thought Beis Shammai hold. And therefore, they responded with this claim. Look, you see from this fellow with the neder that everything goes back to, it reverts back and it becomes chulin. So we see hekdesh betos is not hekdesh. And in fact, Beis Shammai responded to them, Lav mishum de hekdesh betos who. No. You misunderstood what we're trying to say. When we said the Yishar, Lavan is hekdesh, it's not so. It wasn't the Shor Lavan. It was the Shor Shachar. That came out later on. But since he was the first of all the black ones, it was just that there was some sort of misunderstanding and a lack of clarity in the way he expressed his commitment. But ultimately, we interpret it in this manner. Even though he said the first black, Shor Shachar, She'etzim Beis Rishon, all he meant to say was, I'm going to wait until the first of my black ones come out. So even though the first one was white, the white one is not Kaddish. It's actually the black one because it's the first of my many black ones. But in fact, if he meant A and turns out B, of course it's not Kaddish. Really? V'sabri Beis Shammai, hekdesh betos, lo have a hekdesh. So according to this school of thought, right, this is really Rav Papa's school of thought, right? As opposed to the first segment in the Gemara where the Gemara assumed that according to Beis Shammai, hekdesh betos is hekdesh like by Tmura. But now we're switching. Rav Papa's approach is no. It's the only way we could sort of reanalyze his words and make it work. V'sabri Beis Shammai, hekdesh betos, lo have a hekdesh. Do you mean to say according to Beis Shammai, if it's a real tos, it doesn't work? Toshma, here comes another raya. A Mishnah coming up soon. We have 6 people walking along the road. And they're all sort of challenging each other. They notice a fellow coming towards them. Identity at this point unknown. And they're betting against each other. They notice another fellow coming towards them. So we have, 6 people here, from Reuven all the way to Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun. And the first fellow says, you know what? I'm telling you, this is my good friend. I know who this person is coming towards us. Hareini Nazir is a plani. If in fact it turns out that I identified him correctly, I'm going to be a Nazir, just to prove his point. Ve'echad Amar, and his friend Shimon says, guess what? I totally disagree. I think he's a totally different person. In fact, I'll back it up with a Nazir's commitment. Hareini Nazir she'ein ze plani. I'll be a Nazir, but it's not the fellow you think it is. A third guy gets up and says, you know what? Hareini Nazir she'echad mikem Nazir. I'm going to be a Nazir if at least one of you guys are a Nazir. Well, which is true, right? The next fellow says, I'm going to be a Nazir she'ein echad mikem Nazir. If one of you are not a Nazir, well, at least somebody's not, right? Somebody's wrong. So I'll be a Nazir if one of you guys are not. Sheshnechem Nazir. Next fellow says, you know what? I'll be a Nazir if the 2 people before me are Nazirim. Which is actually true, they are Nazirim. The last person says, Shekulchem Nazir. I'm going to be a Nazir when Kulchem, somebody amongst you is a Nazir. So, they all bet against each other. And what happens now? Not everybody turned out to be right. Beis Shammai, Kulam Nazirim. You know what? Everybody's a Nazir. Asks the Gemara, how? Why? This is a classic example of Tos. Hegdish v'Tosu. Right, Nazirus is like Hegdish. He's been, committing and everything. He's going to be Kaddish. He's going to be Karbanis. Somebody's making a mistake. Well, that stranger there is either Mr. A or Mr. B. Uktani kulam Nazirim. Beis Shammai insists that everybody's a Nazir. Right? Amri says, the Gemara, you're right. Savri Beis Shammai, Hegdish, Betos, Have Hegdish. That's the conclusion we see from here. That in fact, according to Beis Shammai, even a Hegdish Betos commits you. Hacha loy. You're right. We just proved that according to Beis Shammai, even an outright toast is considered hegdish. That's the power of hegdish. We learned it from Tmura. Even with toast it works. You couldn't bring the same right from the previous, your previous reference. The case of the person who was shayel the chachamim, because that can be learned differently. But in fact, this raya that you've just proven from is in fact a bona fide proof. Hegdish b'toast works. Now, Taisvis remarks, let's just go back a step. Initially, the Gemara figured that in fact Beis Shammai hold Hegdish toast have a Hegdish. Learned from Tmura, but we had a problem, we had a kasha, because by Tmura itself, if he says A, it turns out B, it doesn't work. Why would it be different? So the Taisvis says, here it's different. He meant the first ox that exits his home. He happened to think that it's going to be a black one. He's not necessarily particular about its color. So even though he said Shayr Shachar, his main point was the first one will be Hegdish. So it's not an outright negation of his verbalization. So this level, this degree of tos does not get in the way of Hegdish. Continues the Gemara, Abaya had a totally different pshat. He says, no, if he says black and it turns out to be white, there's nothing you can do about it. The reason why Beis Shammai hold that in our Mishnah, the white one is Kadosh. Loi, Abaye Amar Loi kasakadaitach. The Kohen B'Tzafar. It's not like you thought. That he's standing here, in the morning, anticipating the day, and he's saying, look, later on when the oxen go out to feed, I want the first one, the black one, to be Kaddish, turns out to be a white one. No. In that case, it would not work. Because we're outright negating what he said. That's not called tos. That's not the case. Elohachim skin. You know what we're speaking about? A past event, which he in fact is in error about. Something already happened. The Kohen B'Tiara, he's standing there midday. V'amar, he says, I know the oxen walked out of my barn today. Shar Shachar, Shayatza, past tense. The first one the black one that came out first. Shayatza basically recently have Hegdish, should be Hegdish. Ramalei, and they tell him, look, you're mistaken about the facts. You thought the first one came running out first. No. Actually, it was the white one. Ramalei, no, love nafak. So they're correcting him on the facts. And he responds, oh, really? Okay, no problem. Yeah, if I would have just known the love enough, it was the white one that came out first. Well, I would never have mentioned the word black. So Abai puts a new twist on the Mishnah. Rather than speaking about something in the future. I'm standing in the morning and I'm anticipating the black one, it turns out to be a white one. No, that's not the case. That would be an outright mistake. That wouldn't work. That's not called tos. That's going against what I'm saying. I want the black one, not the white one. I'm not giving the white one. I want the black one to be Hegdish. How could you force him to give the white one? Why then is it chal? Why does it work? Because there was a tos. He's standing in the middle of the day and he says, look, the first, the black one that came out first in the morning, he's thinking, the black one is the one full of energy. And he figured just... chances are he jumped out first. He wasn't particular. It was just a point of reference. It was an assumption. But then when he's corrected on the facts, he corrects himself, says, sure, no problem. White is just as fine. So then, Beis Shammai say it works. That's the Hegdish B'Tos that according to Beis Shammai works. And Beis Hillel disagree. That's like the case of the, fellows walking down the road. It was a mistaken identity. He thought, but he was taking a chance and he was willing to commit himself regardless. Says the Gemara, how could you suggest that we're speaking about a guy standing in the middle of the day, speaking about something in the past? Look at the next example with the coins. Dinars of Shiya'aleh. He's clearly speaking about something in the future, the first gold coin, which will be picked out. Tani she'ala, let's modify it. Instead of she'ala, first gold coin that I picked out, and actually he had picked out the silver one. So again, it's something that happened that he was mistaken about. And therefore it works. What about the third case? Again, future. It's going to happen. Again, we switch it to we modified sha'olsa, the first barrel, the one filled with wine that had already been picked out. Turns out he was really mistaken. It was oil. Let's just summarize the Gemara until this point. We have a Mishnah, a Machlokes, regarding Hegdesh B'tos. Beis Shammai say Hegdesh. Beis Hillel say no Hegdesh. We have three ways to explain the Mishnah. The three examples of Hegdesh B'tos were the ox, the coin, and the barrel. According to the first approach in the Gemara, Beis Shammai learned from Tmura, a tos works by Hegdesh. The words of commitment to Hegdesh are so strong and powerful, they override any trivial mistakes. So according to this school of thought, in the case of the ox, he said the shor shachash yetim beis rishon should be Hegdesh. Turned out to be a white one. We don't care. The white one becomes Kaddish, even though he thought it's going to be a black one. The Gemara asked a kasha on that. Rav Papa says, you know what? Actually, nobody's suggesting the white one is Kaddish. It's going to be the black one, because we understand that what he meant was as follows. I have white ones, I have black ones. My first black one that comes out, the first of the blacks, will be Kaddish. So that's fair. According to Abaye, no. We're talking about something in the past. The first black one that jumped out in the morning. Oh, one second, it was the white one. Fine, let it be the white one. Same thing with the gold coin, same thing with the barrel. Amar Rav Chizda, Uchma b'chivra. So we're on the lesson about oxen here. Uchma, you have a black ox amongst the white ones. Uchma b'chivra, a black amongst the white. Lakya, it affects the value of the entire herd. So according to Rav Chizda, a black one is not the same. It just doesn't have it. It's a lower quality ox than the white ones. And likewise, chivra, a white spot, white blotch, bu'uchma on a black ox, lakya, is an indication of a sickness. Okay. Tanan. Now we're going to go on the bring a raya from the Mishnah. A kasha on Rav Chizda, who tells us that black is not as good as white. Shor shacha, she'etzim beis rishon hekdesh. He's committing the first black one. Because the Gemara figures at this point, ki magdish, ba'ain ro magdish. That when a person commits to Hegdesh, typically, he minimizes. He's not ultra generous. He gives on a low scale, right? That's the mindset. You give, but it is what it is. And what did Beis Shammai say? He said black. Turned out that it was white. V'ami Beis Shammai, have Hegdesh. The white one becomes Hegdesh. What right? Or do we have to commit him to the white one, which is a higher value ox according to Rav Chizda? Ve'elamai says, well, okay, so according to you, by Yafa Magdish, so you're proving that in fact this Mishnah, according to Rav Chizda, will actually be teaching us that a person is actually generous with his commitments to Hegdesh. That explains why we commit the white one, despite the fact that it's higher in value than the black one. Is that what you mean to say? Is that what you're proving? According to Rav Chizda, the Mishnah is teaching us ba'ayin yafa, which is a chiddush. What about the next part of the Mishnah? Dinar shah zav shi'al b'yad rishon. He's committing to the first gold coin. V'alo kesef, turns out to be silver. What happens? B'shamay mim hegdish. The silver one is hegdish. Why? V'amai. Sorry, so we have a kasha from here. We have a raya from here that a person is stingy when he's magdish. Otherwise, why would you say he meant the silver one? Okay. Ve'elamai, so what do you tell me by in raw magdish? So we're proving that a person is stingy? Well, what about the next case? We're sort of going to be going back and forth here. Nothing's going to work. Third case is chavis shal yayin, shetal b'yad rishon. He's committing to the first wine barrel. V'olo shal shemen turned out to be oil. B'sham Emrim Hegdish. He's committed to the oil barrel. We know that oil is more expensive and valuable than wine. So if a person's limited in his Hegdish, he's ba'ayin ra'ah, what right do we have to commit him to the oil? So that wouldn't be a problem. If it's only this that you have a problem, like kasha, that's not really a kasha. Begli l'shani, the Mishnah is speaking about people living in the Galil area of Eretz Yisrael, begli l'shanu, where they have an abundance of, overstocked with oil, the chamra adav mishcha, in which case wine actually is more precious and valuable to them than oil. That's why it makes sense that we commit it to the oil in this case, because in fact it's less valuable than the wine. Ba'ayin ra magish. Right? So basically, if in fact we're working with the idea of ayin ra, a person minimizes his donations. So in the case of the gold and the silver, we commit it to the silver. In the case of the wine and the oil, in galil, since oil is less valuable, we have a right to commit them to the. We assume, and it makes sense that we'll commit them to the oil, despite the fact that it's lower in value, because ba'ayin ra magdish. Problem now is, what about the first case with the oxen, where we commit them to the white one? Right? He said black turned out to be a white one. We commit him to the white one. Well, if a person is ba'ayin ra magdish, that seems to be the assumption of the Gemara. A person, he gives what he gives, not more. When he said black, you can't commit him to something more expensive like white. Reisha, the first case of the oxen, where we commit him to the white one, which according to Rav Chizda is higher in value. Kasha Rav Chizda is a kasha Rav Chizda formula. It tells us that white is more valuable. Amlach Rav Chizda. He answers like this. You're right. It's clear from the Mishnah typically. The white isn't necessarily more expensive, more valuable than the black one. Ki Amri, when I gave you that formula, white is better, but Torah the Carmenoy. I spoke about a certain brand, the oxen in this place, Carmenoy, a certain type of brand. But typically it's not so. Here comes another formula by Rav Chizda regarding oxen. What's a good quality ox? Uchma, a black one, lemashche, that's good for its, has good hide. So you're looking for good hide, go to the black ones. Sumka, a reddish one, lebistre, that's good for its flesh. Chivra, a white one, leradia, that's good for working. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? So black, white, red, they all indicate value, just, for different purposes. But Rav Chizda told us a minute ago, black is no good. Uchma b'chivri lakia, black one amongst the white one, it lowers the value of the herd. And here he seems to say they're all of equal value. Well, depending on what context, depending on what you need it for. Says the Gemara, you're right. The same Torah says before, Ki Amar, B'Torah the Carmenoid, Chizda. Earlier we're speaking about a specific brand. The oxen from this locale. There the black ones are no good, but typically they're all of equal value. It just depends on what you're looking for. Okay, so once again we're at Machlokes. Regarding Hegdish Betos, according to Beishama it's Hegdish, according to Beisil it's not Hegdish. We had three ways to explain the Mishnah. We're speaking about an actual tos. That was one approach. We're speaking about just manipulating his expression and reinterpreting his words. And according to Abaye, we are speaking about just something which he overlooked, a past event, and of course we assume he meant to commit himself, and in fact he's explaining himself as such, and that's why according to Beishama it works. Concluded with the idea of Magdish ba'ayin ra or Magdish ba'ayin yafeh, the three types of oxen and their respective functions. All the best to you. Hatzlacha Rava and B'suras Teves.